Okay, so when you hear the dangers of AI, what's the first thing that pops into your head? For most of us, it's straight out of a movie, right? We're picturing killer robots, some superintelligence taking over the world, the whole Terminator scenario. But what if the real threat, the one that's already here, isn't a physical war, but a war for our minds? Let's get into it.
Tech pioneer Jaron Lanier puts it perfectly with this really chilling idea. The immediate danger isn't that AI is going to outsmart us and, launch the nukes. It's that it's going to fundamentally break our ability to make sense of the world, and even of ourselves. This isn't some far-off sci-fi plot. This is about our sanity, right here, right now.
So how exactly could something like that even happen? I mean, it sounds pretty dramatic. But Lanier's warning, it's not just a philosophical thought experiment. There is a ton of scientific evidence showing how our nonstop connection to digital tech is literally, physically changing the way our brains work. Let's break down the mechanics of it.
First up, we've got something called digital amnesia. And I want you to just think about this for a second. How many phone numbers do you actually know by heart today, compared to maybe 15 years ago? Right? Because we know any piece of information is just a quick search away. Our brains don't bother doing the heavy lifting required to form a real long-term memory. We're basically outsourcing our memory. And yeah, that has some serious consequences.
And this whole process has a name. It's called cognitive offloading. We're using our phones and devices like an external hard drive for our brains. Now look, on one hand, this can be incredibly efficient. It frees up mental bandwidth for other things. But the research is starting to show that this trade-off might be weakening our own internal memory muscles over time. We gain convenience, sure, but we might be losing a really core part of our cognitive strength.
And it's not just our memory. This is a huge one. This is basically the battle happening inside our heads all day, every day. On one side, you have sustained focus, that deep concentration you need for complex thought, for creativity, for actually getting stuff done. And on the other side, you have the state our digital world is designed to keep us in, divided attention. This constant jumping between tasks, the multitasking, it literally makes it harder for us to control our own focus.
And here's the most important part. This isn't an accident. Not at all. The algorithms that run our social feeds are engineered for one thing, to capture and hold on to your attention. And they do that by feeding you more and more of what they already know you'll engage with. This creates these little echo chambers that just reinforce what you already believe. It makes it so much harder to see other points of view and ultimately to think critically for yourself.
So you take all of this together, the memory issues, the fractured focus, and it's becoming so widespread that psychologists and researchers are actually starting to classify them as entirely new mental health conditions. We're now putting names to the very specific anxieties and disorders that are being born out of our constantly connected lives.
Now this is fascinating because it basically puts a name to feelings that I think a lot of us have. Take a look at CPAD, continuous partial attention disorder. That's that feeling of having 20 tabs open in your brain at all times and never being able to fully commit to one thing. Or how about ADD, algorithm dependency disorder? This is when we become so reliant on AI to pick our news, our music, our dates, that our own decision-making muscle starts to get weak. Then there's DAD, that little jolt of anxiety you feel waiting for a notification, and DDS, which is really just burnout from total cognitive overload. These aren't just buzzwords, they're describing the very real price we're paying for being this connected.
Okay, so I know this all sounds incredibly bleak, right? But it's not hopeless. That's the good news. There are absolutely powerful ways to fight back and reclaim what you could call our cognitive sovereignty. And maybe the most powerful tool we have is to just become more mindful and intentional about how we use this technology. So what does that actually look like? Well, the Center for Humane Technology has some really simple, practical tips. Number one, turn off every single notification that doesn't come from a real human being. That alone is a game changer. 2, try putting your phone in grayscale mode. It's wild how much less appealing and addictive the whole thing becomes. 3, create tech-free zones like your bedroom to give your brain a place to actually rest. And 4, my favorite, just take one deep breath, a 1-second pause before you open an app. It's a tiny act that puts you back in the driver's seat.
And this leads us to a really fascinating paradox. We've talked about how tech is causing all these problems and how mindfulness is a potential solution. But now there's this huge new market of apps that use AI to deliver mindfulness. So the big question is, can the architect of the problem also be the architect of the cure?
I mean, the promise is incredibly compelling. You have apps like Wyza and Wobot that are basically AI-powered digital companions. They use clinically proven techniques like CBT, that's cognitive behavioral therapy, to give you personalized coaching, daily check-ins, basically mental health support that's available 24/7. In theory,
It's an amazing, scalable way to help millions of people.
But, and this is a huge but, the risks are profound. First, there's what's called deceptive empathy. An AI can be programmed to say, I understand how you feel, but it can't feel. It's a simulation of connection. It's not the real thing. Then you have massive privacy issues. You're telling this app your deepest, darkest secrets. Where's that data going? You've got the risk of biased algorithms giving you bad or even harmful advice. And maybe the scariest one, what happens when someone is in a genuine crisis and the AI just doesn't get it?
So this all brings us right back to the big picture. This isn't just about managing notifications or picking the right wellness app anymore. We are facing a really deep philosophical challenge that's forcing us to decide what parts of our own minds, of our own humanity, are we going to fight to protect.
Tristan Harris from the Center for Humane Technology says it like this, and it's just brilliant. Think about it. For all of human history, our entire civilization, our laws, our culture, our relationships, it's all built on language. And now, for the first time, a machine can generate infinite amounts of persuasive, realistic language at scale. This power to create narratives can completely overwhelm our ability to tell what's true from what's not, and that erodes the very foundation of a shared reality.
And this is the new goal. For the longest time, wellness in the tech world was all about optimization. How can I be less stressed so I can be more productive? The new paradigm is about liberation. It's not about being more productive, it's about developing the inner strength to just say no. The freedom to disconnect, to put the phone down, and to reclaim your own mind, even when every part of the technology is designed to keep you hooked. Ultimately, it all comes down to this one incredibly powerful question. As our tools get smarter and smarter, as they become capable of simulating conversation and creativity and even empathy, what is our role? How do we use these incredible tools not to replace our humanity, but to amplify it? That's the challenge. And frankly, that's the responsibility that falls on every single one of us.